not, adjust your TV set, your tablet, your phone, whatever you may be watching me on. I really am dressed as a king, not just because this is a W-King speaker review, but because in real life a lot of people say I look like a king. They actually say from a distance. What they actually say is bar king. But enough about that. In my last video, we talked about how you can still enjoy yourself if you've only got a little one. But today, don't have to pretend anymore, because this is all about those who have a big one. Yes, it's the W-King X20. That's not the X20, that's the X20. It's a big old boy, and it promises lots and lots of lovely things on paper, because I give you not 100, not 150, but 200 watts RMS, they say. We'll go on to that in a minute. And not just that, they also say 250 watts peak, and they also say 300 watts peak. We'll get onto that as well. Well, I'll tell you what this one's all about. Again, we've had enough of, well, just one driver or just two drivers. This is a three-way for maximum enjoyment, because we've got one racetrack. No, very fast. Well, they don't say very fast. I say very fast. I don't even know why I say it. It's oval shaped. I say it because they call it a racetrack driver, and if you're not into IndyCar racing, that sort of thing, other places in the world, I've said it before, like Formula 1 and all that, do not race on an oval track. But anyway, so they call racetrack driver. We got two mid-range drivers. They call that subwoofer. The arguments are out there, to be continued on Reddit. And two tweeters. When are two tweeters not a good thing? Well, quite often, it's an afterthought. We'll have to see what's happened here. And also, a three-way. It can be hard enough to do in a high-end system. So far, three-way systems have not promised everything on paper. The problems of dealing with two crossovers, certainly in the budget end of these speakers, often doesn't end up well. But anyway, we'll see where we are. So this is a big old boy, and it really is a big old boy. 7.1 kilos. That's heavy. It's a good thing you got a handle. It's a good thing you got a strap. And by the way, very easy to remove that handle, because industrial-like, we've got two, I think these are Allen screws. Allen screws with no caps on. It looks a bit ugly, but there you go. It looks like you can remove that. I'm assuming, because I haven't actually tried it. But what I have done is I have taken the grill off, and I was going to take the grill off for the start of the video. I completely forgot. So I put some pictures up instead. And here are the pictures. A fully naked speaker. Hey, so what I learned was we've got a passive radiator, and another passive radiator on the back. And I've always said, you know, there's mathematics involved in sizing the passive radiator to your subwoofer or your woofers or whatever's going to be driving the passive radiators. It's going to be whatever is playing the lowest note, so it's going to be your subwoofer. And so we've got a three-way design. Didn't go that well in the Bang Max, but not too bad for the JBL Boombox and all that, and yeah, the JBL Boombox 3. But we'll see what we've got. So headlines, you've gone mad for it, because they said 200 watts, 250 watts peak. So here's the thing. They said, originally when I went on Amazon.com, they said in the marketing, 250 watts peak, 200 watts RMS. RMS, it's really nice if they actually say RMS, so it's a proper measurement. But so many ways of making it look like something else. That you know, the watts, obviously lots of watts is good, and it's probably more likely to go loud than something with 2 watts. But it doesn't really tell you the whole story. But why am I saying all this? Because they changed what they said on the website on Amazon from 250 watts peak. It now says 300 watts peak. But peak, you know, it's one instantaneous moment. So it's not here or there. What you want to know is what's to do most of the time, and that's 200 watts RMS. But here's the thing, on the box itself, it doesn't say RMS, it just says 200 watts. In the manual, it does not say 200 watts RMS, it just says 200 watts. Is that really RMS or not? The jury's out. It's not here or there. We're going to do the loudness testing. And there was also, on the box, it says IPX7. That's waterproof. That's what it says, IPX7. In the manual, it says IPX7. And that's the only IP rating. On Amazon.com, if you bother to read it, rather than, you know, get it off the manual or the box itself, it actually says IPX7 waterproof and IP6 dustproof. So you wouldn't normally separate out those two ratings. You would say IP67. So I'm querying whether it really is IP6. I know it says it in the marketing. I've already showed you they've already changed once at least what they've claimed in the marketing. And the marketing doesn't tally with the manual or the box. They're saying it's IP6, it's dustproof, and I'm saying, I wonder. The only thing we know for sure is IPX7, 1 metre of water for 30 minutes. They're claiming, as everybody does, they love to say 24 hours playtime. At least often now they do say 50% playtime, 50% volume, maybe in a particular EQ. We'll get onto that because it's got different presets and stuff. But here it doesn't say at all how they've tested it. When you turn the speaker off, it will last almost an infinite amount of time. So really meaningless, but 24 hours if you believe that. But there are lots of lovely things about this speaker, just looking to say. Right, we talked about big ones.
Mitchell, please, I'm not that kind of doctor.
And this is a huge one. What are you talking about, Al? I'm talking about the battery, 111 watt hours. That's really massive. I think that is the biggest battery I've had in any portable speaker, but I don't get the even biggest one. But I think you'll struggle to find even the big party box type speakers with a 111 watt hour battery. And that's stamped on the speaker itself. So we know that really is the rating. I know a lot of you do like your milliamp hours. I haven't written down here. So it's actually, what was it? It says it on the flappy thing. I can't even read it from this. It's 11.1 volts, 10,000 milliamp hours, which works out 111 watt hours. So obviously this is a boombox style speaker. You want it to go boom, boom, boom. Trying to get organized. I'm just going through my notes then. So yeah, lots of lovely features. First of all, on these, say, not big brand speakers, we tend to get way more features. This is no exception. If you look at the under the flappy thing, we've got guitar input, we've got micro SD input to play tracks straight off the speaker itself. We've got a USB-A input to use a USB dongle to do that. We've got, this is the first one I've seen with an actual, says it on the go, USB-C input. That means you can hook up directly to your phone as though it was a wired device and play music that way. And the thing is, we like to get that even if it's the only thing we get on some of these speakers. But not only have they got the on-the-go, they've still also got the auxiliary input and they've got the monitor input. So to monitor with your headphones, and a two-way, not just a three-way, it's a two-way USB-C. Fast charging. Now, it says two-way up to 60 watts. Certainly it will charge up to 60 watts with a fast charger. I'm not sure if that's, it can also do that in power bank functionality. You can use it as a power bank. Whether it will recognize high power devices or not, I don't know. It's Bluetooth 5.3. We told you about the inputs, the battery. One weird thing is, I'm going to turn it on. Well, did you see what happened? So come on. This is the longest hold, she said, ever to turn it on. That is the longest I've ever had to hold me button to make it turn on. And what we do get is your volume up, your volume down, volume up, your play, pause, your bass. Woo, I can boost the bass. You've got a dedicated button there, but we're going to have a quick look in the app in a minute. Of course, your power button, we've done that. I showed you the X10 at the beginning. This is obviously the big brother to the X10, the X20. It is a big bugger. Gonna get straight into it. She said, yes, I'm gonna keep doing it. I love saying that. That's my new catchphrase. She said, maybe it's gonna be the last time and I'll fool the world. So what I'm gonna do now is quickly show you the app. By the way, it appears to me that Tribit and W-King are using the same developers. It appears to be very much the Tribit app with a different skin. It basically works in the same way, but it looks slightly different. What we got? We got the equaliser. The default setting is melody bass boost off. So I don't know why bass boost is the top selector, but if you hit the bass button, it's still melody mode, just with emphasized bass. Or is it? We'll get on to that in a minute. But you've also got what we've always asked for, the audiobook classical jazz party rock. Do you see what I mean? Same settings basically as you'd get on a Tribit app and your custom EQ. But they've gone one up on Tribit Tribit because, and indeed Soundcore, it's not a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, 8, 9, 10 slider. It is a 10, did I say 10? Yeah. It's a 10 band graphic equaliser. But is it really? We're going to have a look at that. But as I wanted to just quickly show you the app. Select your source. I don't really need that because it's already selected. Instruments, not available. Not available for volume adjusting. But, by the way, W-King, you've spelled adjusting wrong. Left, right, stereo. If you've got them mixed. Pairing, okay. You've got your dedicated. Oh, no. Yeah, thank you. Your settings. You could do firmware over the air within the app. And that's pretty much a wrap. What does it sound like? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me show you. So definitely not linear. What jumps out at me is the 1 kilohertz peak, the suck out 2 kilohertz to 4 kilohertz, the peak of 4.5 kilohertz, and then apparently rolling off quite rapidly. But if we take the center line, it's rolling off from 10 kilohertz in reality, and the rest are peaks. Bass doesn't look particularly boosted, but does look well extended. Clearly extended, well below 50 hertz. Pretty linear volume steps. Bass relatively dropping off quite gradually and still there or be rolled off at maximum volume. But because it's an upward slope, it's going to sound quite bright. But it's got a bass boost mode. What happens with bass boost on? Melody mode being the default mode, you switch the bass boost on, you've still got melody mode, but with so-called bass boost. And yes, the red line, we do get more bass, but hey-ho, we lose a chunk. In fact, we lose more highs than we're gaining in the bass. And given the rapid roll-off anyway in the highs, that doesn't look to be a good idea. So some interesting things on paper. Certainly looks like deep extended bass, but maybe an individual character overall. It's got custom EQ, and in default custom mode, it is indeed based on melody mode, which is the default mode. And then you can stick the deep bass on if you want. Quick look at the drivers. It's a three-way system. They're calling the woofer the subwoofer, and that's fair enough. It is playing from 200 hertz and down. It's got a reasonably deep peak around the 65 hertz mark, and then gradually rolling off. The mid driver, well, that's playing from about 250 hertz all the way up to 10 kilohertz, and that's quite weird. It looks like there was supposed to be a crossover around the 5 kilohertz, which you'd expect, and that's where it seems the tweeter is cutting in, and then it's rolling off deeply to 7 kilohertz, but then it's cutting in again. So the mid looks like it's going to swamp the tweeter a little bit with its 10 kilohertz peak, and that tweeter is not very linear at all. It's actually peaking around 12, 13, 14 kilohertz and then rapidly rolling off. But it's an upward slope from 7 kilohertz. So that's going to be interesting to see in practice. In terms of those passive radiators, we've got 3 of them, 2 on the side. The side one's tuned at 50 hertz, which is pretty reasonable for the speaker of this size. But the one on the back appears to do absolutely nothing at all. Clearly underpowered and doesn't seem to have any particular peak. If it's doing anything, it's playing 50 hertz to 100 hertz, but with very little power at all. So we said it's got a 10 band class leading app. Or is it? Let's have a look what the sliders actually do. Probably want to know what the EQ sliders do so you can use it to tune your own speaker. Very unusual to see a 30 hertz slider, and you may think, is that really affecting 30 hertz? And yes, it is. It is boosting everything down, including towards the noise floor. But it is affecting 30 hertz, but it's really peaking at 55 hertz. That's where the main boost is, and it's affecting everything 30 hertz to 150 hertz. The 60 hertz slider also affects everything down, even into the noise floor, and quite a wide filter, 30 hertz to 250 hertz. 120 hertz, well look, still affecting 30 hertz, all the way up to 500 hertz. So what we see are very overlapping bands. 250 hertz, that's 50 hertz to 1.2 kilohertz. 500 hertz, 120 hertz to 2.5 kilohertz. 1 kilohertz, 180 hertz to 5 kilohertz. 2 kilohertz, 400 hertz to 10 kilohertz. I mean, that's basically all the highs, because it does roll off quite rapidly at the high end. 4 kilohertz. It's a bit narrower than the 2 kilohertz, 1 kilohertz to 12 kilohertz, but it's mainly around 3 kilohertz to 6 kilohertz with a big peak. So they're not very linear in what they're doing, these bands. 8 kilohertz is 1.8 kilohertz to 16 kilohertz. And then the 16 kilohertz, well, it's doing very little at all, but it does indeed affect 16 kilohertz, but well rolled off at that point. More likely to think of that as a 14 kilohertz slider. But look, very overlapping EQ sliders. I'm not going to make life easy for you. So, yeah, they're very wide bands, those filters, and they do overlap. And the 30 band, yes, it does affect the 30 hertz region, but that's well into noise floor territory, and it's really aimed at 55 hertz, and you've already got a 60 hertz slider anyway. Just give you an idea, but hey, we've got the app. It is useful to know what those sliders do if you're going to start messing with them, because otherwise it can be quite frustrating. You've pushed one and you've affected all the other areas that were okay to start with. So, going to have to compare it to something, aren't we? And I'm going to compare it to... It's the JBL Boombox 3. Have you heard of that speaker? Oh, it's the one all the others take aim at. Do you know why? Because it's going to be the easiest to take aim at, because it's one of those very high-priced speakers from JBL. Not as extremely priced as the JBL Extremely Priced 4, which is over-the-top priced for what you get. The Boombox coming in about $400, 350 quid. Better than when they launched. I think it was like 500 quid. But we're looking at $225 for the 200 and something watts that is going to put out on the X20. Not available in the UK. Oh, I did get that from Amazon.com via W-King themselves. I paid for the shipping, but I got the speaker for free. Full disclosure. As always, that's all I ever agree, is to get the speaker. I did ask for the speaker. Nothing has been agreed. Indeed, I didn't even agree to do a video on it. The Tronsmart Bang Max is this one. Obviously, it looks even more like the JBL Boombox 3, and it's the Tribbit, just not the Tribbit at all. It's the Tronsmart Bang Max. We've already done a full review on it, and it comes in at the cheapest on the table, $200, £200. So, not quite half the price now, depending on the price you get on the JBL Boombox 3. But a hell of a lot cheaper. We're hoping to get somewhere close to it. The Tronsmart Bang Max, I'm going to be doing in... So it's all about going boom, boom, boom. So I'm going to do the boom, boom, boom modes. Sound pulse mode gets you the most bass and the most highs. If you go for their, I think, bass boost mode, what they call it, you lose the highs. If you go for default, it's just a decrease in volume. So sound pulse is the one to use unless you don't want those highs at all. There may be a reason for that, and we'll get onto that as well. The Boombox 3 just has its one EQ. We're going to be using that one. No custom EQs. Doing this in default. So you know what the speakers out of the box are actually going to do. Going to compare both bass on, bass off for its default. They call melody mode. See how Tribbit like it is, they call theirs music mode. Definitely the same developers, different skin. Bass mode, so default mode, they call it melody mode, and bass boost. We've already seen bass boost does not just boost the bass, it cuts the highs quite a lot. So I'm going to do both modes because they are significantly different. 50%, about 50% volume, but loudness matched. Go.
Boy who missed his home run. Boo-hoo, you can miss me with that shit.
around 50% volume. All three speakers are loudness matched. We've got the two modes for the X20, the melody mode, and then you put melody mode with deep bass on. Who's got the biggest bass of all? It's neck and neck with melody mode, bass boosted, and the Bang Max. Very close indeed, but it's the X20 that actually plays a bit deeper, and the Bang Max a bit more mid-bass, upper bass slanted. But all of them, including the Boombox 3, lacking upper bass. Of course, that will help it make it sound a bit more deep bass slanted. The melody mode without bass boost is very bass light, along with a high-end boost. It's not a great balance. The Boombox 3 overshadowed in terms of the mid-bass, but it does fill out some of the upper bass that the other two lack. And then it's pretty close between all of them, 40 Hz and down, but they're all playing below that 40 Hz mark without being too rolled off. The standouts here are the peaks for each of those speakers. 700 Hz peak, unnatural peak for the Boombox 3, 1.2 kHz peak for the X20 bass boosted, and the 10 kHz peak for the Bang Max. Problem for the Bang Max is it's very wavy, so between its two peaks at 2.4 kHz and 7.5 kHz, there's almost nothing. In terms of the X20, it has a big suck out around the 2 kHz to 4 kHz mark, sucking a lot of the life out of it. And it's the Boombox 3 overall has the best balance, but also has a peak around the 9 kHz mark. None of them are perfect, that's for sure. But the Boombox 3, of course, is the reference point for these type of speakers before you go even larger. The party box style, portrait style speakers, the good news is both of the cheaper ones will give you some boom, but you're going to have problems further up, she said. In terms of both modes, so melody mode and then melody mode with bass boost on, whatever mode you're using, you're stuck with a suck out between about 1.5 to 2 kHz and 4 kHz. I mean, that's an absolute must-have region. That's your presence region. Again, a three-way design. You always, on these cheaper speakers, obviously it's not pennies, it's still a lot of money, but at this low end, compared to proper hi-fi gear, it's really asking for problems doing these three-way speakers. I've yet to see one. You know, the JBL get the closest, but all of them have issues. Getting two crossovers right clearly is asking too much for these type of speakers. They've got the suck out and they're having to have big peaks after that, 4 to 10 kHz to get some clarity back. But then there's a rapid roll-off. We've got tweeters, but then there's a rapid roll-off after 10 kHz. I think it's overwhelmed by the mids. The mid drivers, as we saw, it's got a kick at 10 kHz when it should have already been rolled off. And we've got the old thing. You've got two modes. Neither one is quite right. So we've got a bass light mode and a muddy mode because they cut the highs too much on the bass boost. And we don't have enough bass on the non-bass boosted mode. And we see this all the time. In the race to get different modes and look good in the marketing, no mode is properly balanced. So for me, I would only use it in bass boost mode. And obviously you've got the app too. I haven't tinkered with it, but you can go into the app and add some high-end back if you want. Compared to the Bang Max in its sound pulse mode, yeah, they both have similar bass with little bits of differences. The Bang Max is peaking a little bit higher in that mid bass. The X20 going a little bit deeper. The good news is they are capable of deep bass, albeit a little bit rolled off, but you know, well approaching 30 Hz. But bear in mind, you're approaching the noise floor of these speakers at that point. But it looks good on paper, but they really do go that deep. And Bang Max, that's particularly wavy. You know, neither have got the highs right, clearly, but I think the Tronsmart Bang Max is the least right, because it's relying on just a couple of peaks for its clarity. Hey, maybe that's intentional, you know, not having to drive all of the mids and the highs, allowing them to get a bit more out of the bass area. So for me, very, very similar, except it's that 7.5 kHz that hurts on the Tronsmart Bang Max that makes it a little bit unlistenable for me. So my win there would be for the X20, but hey, it's a lot bigger. You know, I know we're talking about Boombox 3-like speakers, but this is much, much heavier. Well, I'll get into the specs at the end. They're both, you know, it's easy. You come in after the Boombox 3, you know how much bass you need, and they'll just push it enough. So on a quick listen, on the frequency response, they have got more bass than, you know, the Boombox 3. going a bit deeper. But that's not the whole story. The Boombox 3 still remains a better listen. It's more open and it's fuller. There's more. You are very well. I'm aware, and a lot of you may not be, depending on your references and how experienced your ears are. You may or may not hear the missing frequencies. I hear in both the X20 and the Bang Max the missing frequencies, and you've still got enough bass. Maybe not as much as the others have got a deep bass, but overall it's still got, you've got deep bass and it's a better listen. I'm not saying it's perfect. I've said the 700 hertz is a killer for me, makes it unlistenable, but the Wi-Fi edition fixes that. So, as I say, W-King not making really good value speakers, and you know what you get. And I talk about it as being the schoolyard type of speaker. It's going to sound great there, where you're getting the bang, bang, bang. You're not doing any critical listening, and it's having a party, having a boogie, something like that. Do I sound old? Yes, I do. A boogie. I don't know. Do you still call a dance a boogie? Who cares? The point being, that's where we are with the Boombox 3. It's still not a speaker for critical listening, but it's certainly for more mature ears. It sounds more right overall, but no, it doesn't have as much bass end now as the other two pretenders, and that's great. So you can save a hell of a lot of money if you just want something for going outdoors or something, or partying indoors, no critical listening. The other two are going to do the job. If you're going to have a party, you're going to play it a lot louder. But 50% actually is still reasonably loud on these speakers. But if you're really, 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 really intent on having no neighbours, you're going to go to at least 75% and about 75%, but loudness matched my testing.
Sometimes I wait for the sunrise, and it feels like you're next to me. I know you're not, but it's alright. I'm fighting comfort in the sea. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to. Sometimes I wait for the sunrise, and it feels like you're next to me. I know you're not, but it's alright. I'm fighting comfort in the sea. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to. Sometimes I wait for the sunrise, and it feels like you're next to me. I know you're not, but it's alright. I'm fighting comfort in the sea. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Your wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to rush. Wisdom in my mind, memories of us when you used to find me so dangerous. You told me it's fine, I'm serious. We got all our time, so no need to.
Pushing well into loud volumes now. around 75%, 80% for them to be all loudness matched. It's now the Bang Max that comes into its own. The Bang Max dominates bass from 180 Hz all the way down till it's in line with the Boombox 3 from about 45 Hz. Even with the bass boosted now, the X20 cannot match the deeper bass of the other two speakers, but it does have a reasonable mid-bass kick. We still see that 700-800 Hz peak for the Boombox 3, 1.2 kHz peak for the X20, and that 7.5 kHz, which is pretty nasty because of the rest of the suck out on the Bang Max. Very bass light now without bass boost on with the X20, and the problem is you can have extended highs or you can have bass on the X20, but you can't have both using their default settings anyway. And if you look overall, and if you look from, say, upper mids to the high end, the one with the best balance is the Boombox 3. None of them are perfect, but I would say overall here, the Boombox 3 has the best balance overall, but it's still lacking upper bass. It's basically the same result as 50%, except we're going a bit louder. And as you go louder, that melody mode without bass boost is even more bass light, and obviously that puts the focus on the high end, which is not great, which makes it not a great listen. And again, I would still go for bass boost mode, but hey, on that bass heavy track, they're still not quite managing to match. I've said it before, I'll say it again, this is about a dynamic test of how much they can actually match a heavily boosted track in the bass. You know, that's how the track came. I didn't boost it myself, while still having to drive the mids and the highs. For me, that's a good test. If your tracks are not that heavily boosted in the bass, they will match the bass. This is a test of how dynamically, real time, against the filters, against the limiters that will be trying to save the drivers, how much headroom is there in a real world test for how you're likely to use it. So it's against melody mode, yes, still bass boost mode for me. But here's the thing, this is where the Bang Max at these sort of volumes comes into its own. It's actually managing to put out in this dynamic test to match the heavily boosted bass. It's the one that does that the best here now, whereas low volumes, they're pretty well matched. The Bang Max now is the one. 200 Hz down, it is the king at this particular volume step. But hey, you still got that 7.5 kHz boost, which is really, really nasty to me. I don't know if newer speakers have fixed it or not, but it certainly haven't fixed that in a firmware update to this point, which makes the X20 the better listen for me. But we still come back to the Boombox 3. It's closer now, where you're really pushing the volumes, pushing the amp, and trying to hit a heavier bass. The Boombox 3 does a better job. It is closer overall in the bass, and it has a deeper bass, 60 Hz and down. For me, especially this louder volume now, at this particular volume, it's all about this particular volume. That's even more of a better listen than it was compared to the other two speakers at low volumes. For mature ears, if you're not listening like that, you'll probably prefer the others with a bit more bass slam, upper bass slam, especially outdoors, and you saved yourself a few quid. But if you actually have mature ears, you're still going to prefer the Boombox 3. It's a better, proper listen. Still, that's unlistenable for me because of the 700 Hz peak. Fixed on the Wi-Fi edition, that's a decent old listen. Not completely balanced, as you can see. It's still got high-end peaks as well. But compared to these other cheaper speakers, at the end of the day, they're cheaper for a reason. They're doing the job, they're giving you good value, but the JBL Boombox 3 sounds better, in my personal opinion, if you're trying to do any sort of proper listening. So, what does that leave us with? That leaves us with probably the only test you ever wanted in your life. Should we turn them on? She said. By the way, as I said, I took the cover off. Hasn't come back. Yeah, that's nicely back on. I can put it on eBay now. Nobody will know. Right. We'll turn on the JBL. You can hear the boom, boom, boom. Boom. Was it? No. Love that. And I can only connect it to it at a time, so we probably won't get the sound. Oh, that's a long press as well. Oh, it's the only one with lights, by the way. That may be a deal breaker for somebody. It's got lights on the passive side radiators. So 100% volume, that's where you really will get evicted.
dead, nothing left to do. No one gets to breathe, got to face the truth, now it's far away. Tell me what you want, here's what you got. Yours every day, more than we have ever seen. Rock's not dead, don't ask why. She said the rock is dead.
You bought your boombox, you just want to go loud, you've gone to maximum volume. Who's got the most bass? It's the X20. It's the X20 whether it's bass boosted or not. There isn't that much in the bass actually when you stick the bass boost on at maximum volume, but still, that's where you get the most bass. That's the green lines and the white lines. Trouble is we still have a bit of a nasty high end without putting that bass boost on. For the X20, it's a bit easier on the ear with the bass boost, not because you've got more bass, but because you've got less highs. So if you want maximum volume, you still want melody mode, the default mode, without sticking bass boost on. But if you stick bass boost on, you get a bit more bass, a little less overall volume, but a lot easier on the ears. The Boombox 3, well, the bass has gone from 700 hertz and down. We say 700 hertz and down, but then it picks up again from about 200 hertz, but it's well behind the X20. It's not till around 50 hertz where it can match the X20. The Bang Max is beyond its optimal 70-80%, and the roll-off in the bass is quite significant. Well, it's very significant. Having said that, it's still a bit less than the Boombox 3. The problem for the Bang Max is nasty because it's relying basically on the 2.5 kilohertz peak, 7.5 kilohertz peak, and it's just not nice. So for me, the X20 is the clear winner here. It's got the most volume and it's got the most bass, but you're saying the Boombox 3, it'll go louder on mains. But even if we stick the mains lead in, yes, it goes a couple of decibels louder, but that's still not enough to match the bass of the X20. So the purple line, Boombox 3 with mains power, 500 hertz and down, it's still behind considerably the X20 running in battery mode. Who is the king of the loudness test? Do you see what I did there? Who is the W-King of Boombox 3s? If you're going loud, I'd say Boombox 3 or Boombox type speakers in this form factor. The X20, for me, is a clear winner. It's a clear winner, depending on what you want. If you want to go loud with some bass, that's the clear winner. But hey, 7.1 kilos. It ain't light, but it's certainly almost the cheapest, not quite at the moment as cheap as the Bang Max. But hey, the Bang Max seems to be available everywhere, and the X20, I don't know, only in America, or certainly not in Europe, I don't think, at the moment. So certainly took the crown of the king for going loud with some bass in a boombox style speaker. Technically, well, that's close. Melody mode will go louder because it's not having to do so much of the bass, and it's got more highs, but it's a hard listen. Bass boosted melody mode is a reasonable listen. You know, a lot of these are completely unlistenable anyway at maximum volume. As I have to say, is the Tronsmart Bang Max. I mean, that's an assault on the eardrums, to be absolutely frank. But hey, you'll get some volume out of it and stick it next to your neighbours, I don't know, and they will certainly never ever talk to you again, or maybe they'll pay you to turn it off. The the Boombox 3 does run out of steam. It's not holding those volumes like the other two speakers. As I said, it's easier for the others because they come out after the Boombox 3. They know what they're taking aim at. It's relying on that 700 hertz peak for most of its volume anyway, and it's a hell of a lot of bass has gone. It's not a good listen, and if it's about going, 90% and above in terms of what that volume would be on the X20, the Boombox 3 will not do the job. But it may be the best overall listen still, maybe. It's got the most accurate high end, but it's got no bass. So, yeah, so that would rule it out. So it's doing a job. It's doing a job. It's good value. The difference is, I'm saying, my preference would be the X20 over the Tronsmart Bang Max. But hey, the Bang Max is a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit smaller, as you can see. That's still a hefty old speaker. So still options there. The Bang Max, the volume is carrying from its 2.5 kilohertz. It's all about, I don't know if they deliberately just rely on certain peaks to be able to maximize out the bass, or because Tronsmart X20, W-King going for a three-way design just doesn't really work when they have limited budgets to put a speaker together like this and we're seeing massive problems. To me, that's a problem of having a three-way design rather than deliberately just having a couple of peaks and hoping that nobody, you know, is really going to notice. You're going to notice. I can't remember his name. And he actually quite likes my videos, and I was a bit touchy. He was talking about, well, you stick the mains lead in. First of all, I'm about portable speakers. It's not about sticking mains leads in, but stick the mains lead in, it goes a bit louder. Well, I said a bit louder. He says it goes a lot louder. So 2 decibels louder goes the Boombox 3. And he's, I think, and I said 1 decibel, I think, for the Extreme 4. And he was saying, well, that's 30% louder. No, so you've got to remember. You don't watch enough of my videos because I've mentioned it multiple times. 3 decibels, approximately, it's not an exact formula, approximately, almost equal to. 3 decibels is doubling the power. It's not doubling the perceived loudness. If you want to double the perceived loudness, that's 10 decibels. And that's massive. That's massively louder, and massively more power, because decibels are logarithmic. Going from 1 to 2 is not just another 1. It's massively loud. Logarithmic, like the Richter scale, the earthquake. How they measure earthquakes, you go from a 6 to 7 is a massive difference. So to only go 1 decibel louder, I've just demonstrated going 2 decibels louder still doesn't make the difference. It's still behind the X20, and that's with having to stick a mains lead in. So 1 decibel is not 30% louder. It is a little bit louder, and that goes 2 decibels louder, and it still doesn't make a massive difference. 2 decibels, remember, 10 decibels to go twice as loud. 2 decibels is not, well, you would have said 60% louder. We got that one out of the way, she said. So my final words there were, overall, it's actually quite close between the X20 and the Boombox 3 till you hit maximum volume. Maximum volume, even your cat could tell the difference. At 50% and 75%, it would take more experienced ears to hear the difference. For me, the difference is it's a fuller sound, more of the frequencies are there, more of the details are there, it's more open, it's more airy, it's a nicer listen. I'm just too aware of how much of what I'm not getting rather than what I am getting when I listen to the X20. But for a lot of people, that ain't gonna matter. Right, I'm going to do the specs. Did I just throw away my specs? Just threw away the paper. Right, I'm gonna get my paper back. I got my specs appeal back, she said. Right, did I talk about it first? Yeah, we've already talked about the prices. I told you it's got a massive big one. Boom! 111 watt hours battery compared to 69.7 watt hour battery for the Boombox 3, 66.6 watt hour battery on the Tronsmart Bang Max. All got Bluetooth 5.3. Here's another kicker you should know. It's going to default to AAC. Idiot! Even on Android. You're going to have to turn off HD audio if you want to go back to SBC. My testing is in AAC mode. Does it make any difference? The codec OWL certainly does on Android. You will hear differences between AAC and SBC. They all do stereo pairing. But the X20, as far as I can see, won't do party mode. It will only pair, I think, with one other speaker in stereo mode. The other two will do the old thing of 100 plus speakers. You tell me, has it ever been done? In terms of charging, so it's a mains lead for the Boombox 3. It's a barrel charger for the Tronsmart Bang Max, but hey, really nice and convenient. It's a USB-C connection for a high power. It's USB-C, and you can still get 60 watts of charging, and it's even possible, I don't know, I haven't tested, you get that as a power bank functionality. All those lovely input options we went through on the X20. Just about everything was covered there. They all have auxiliary inputs. Can all be used as a power bank. There's no card slot. Obviously, you know, it's the cheaper brands that give us extra features. I don't know why. No card slot on the Boombox 3, but the Tronsmart Bang Max and the X20, I think they both have a flash card. You can certainly both will take a USB dongle playing your tracks off of that. Yeah, and they both have a micro SD card slot as well, additionally. What is a almost meaningless spec, certainly meaningless if you think it's actually accurate, but obviously it will give you some indication of how loud potentially it could go. But there are other more important things that will give you your volume, not least the sensitivity of the speaker, how loud it will go per watt. But I know you like your specs. They're saying 180 watts on mains for the JBL Boombox 3. So even on mains, it's officially not going to the 200 watts of the X20. On Amazon, they say RMS, but none of the actual official literature, i.e. the box and the manual, they do not say that's RMS. And on their Amazon, they've said both 250 watts and 300 watts for the peak rating, and the peak rating is pointless anyway. That's just your instantaneous draw. Actually, I think that's quite low for a 200 watt speaker. In terms of the weight, we said it's a big old boy, 7.1 kilos. It's not a slouch either, it's 6.7 kilos, but I actually tell you, it feels a lot, the difference feels more, that feels a lot more than the 400 grams that I've got down here. But hey ho, the lightest actually is the 5.7 kilos of the Tronsmart Bang Max, then you will certainly feel the difference. That's what I'm saying. It's not just, that's something else to consider between that and the Bang Max. It's kind of smaller, but to me, significantly lighter. There's no IPX7 rating for the Bang Max, so you can't drop it in 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. You can do with both the Boombox 3 and the X20. It is IP67 rated, so it's dustproof as well on the Boombox 3. And, I leave it to you to decide if you think that's actually IP67 or not. Is it dustproof? They've separated out the two things on the Amazon listing, and doesn't say IP67 on the box, doesn't say that in the manual. In terms of those passive radiators, for my measurements, 50 hertz tuned for the X20, which is actually slightly higher than the Boombox 3 at 48 hertz, and the Bang Max at 45 hertz. I mean, you can tune it as deep as you want. If the subwoofer is not pushing it, or the woofer is not driving it to going that deep anyway, you ain't going to get much out of it. As I said, and the rear passive radiator seems to do nothing at all, to be quite honest. Very, very stiff as well. So, what are the drivers? I've got pictures of them, just to remind myself of the drivers. The Bang Max. So we've got two woofers. Bang Max. We've got two 95mm woofers. We've got two 60mm mid-range drivers, two 25mm tweeters, two passive radiators. The X20, these are my measurements, two 85mm mid-range drivers, two 25mm tweeters, and one 180mm by 100mm, in my measurement, the subwoofer. Their official measurements on the website was 190 by, I think, 110. I just measured it as less than that, but as I said, depending on how you measure them, you can legitimately claim different things. Bluetooth latency is rubbish on everything. 100 milliseconds is the best here for the Boombox 3. 160 milliseconds for the Boombox 3. As I said, my cutoff point for me to notice is 80 milliseconds, so maybe just about usable Boombox 3. 160 milliseconds is not good. Bang Max, and whether it's SBC or AAC, it's not good on the X20. 266 milliseconds AAC, 190 milliseconds on SBC. But here, the good news is, all your mixers, your DJs, all that sort of thing, no lag, zero lag on the auxiliary input. That's great, and I was expecting some lag there. On the other two, it's 16 milliseconds, 16 milliseconds for the Bang Max, 25 milliseconds for the Boombox 3. In terms of the app, 3-band graphic equaliser sort of slider thingy for the Boombox 3. Say 5-band, is it 5-band or 9-band? I've got 5-band down here for the Bang Max, but it's 10 bands. 10 bands were very overlapping. We may have been better off with the 5-band, because it does make it awkward when you just want to narrow it down to one thing. You push that one area, say, that's got the dip, say 2 to 4. You try and fix that, but then you've pushed where it was all right already on the other side, so you're going to have to bring sliders either side of that down a bit, and it ends up being a bit of a nightmare. That's been a wrap. That's been my video. This has been the king of all reviews. It's the W-King speaker. It's another good option. It's another good option, but it's never a one-liner that we can say, yeah, that's a good one, buy it. I know that's what a lot of people just like. So, is it good or not, mate? They don't watch the videos and they just say, what's your favourite speaker? Or what's the best speaker out there? I don't know. Do me a favour, watch some of the videos, because otherwise it's pointless to me doing the videos. I mean, I used to answer all of them. Now I'm starting to, if you don't even say please, thank you, whatever, why would I just answer something where it's pointless doing the videos. I might as well just do a forum and answer questions there. I like doing videos. So that's the whole point. And if I'm thinking, I do check. I think if some of these people just ask one question, not even politely, check if they've commented before and if they're a nice commenter and if they're even at least a subscriber. And if they're neither of them, yes, I finally stopped answering every question. I've got a heart, you know. I have to survive. Right, I put my heart and soul into this one. There was a joke about the soul. I ain't going to do that. It's not like me not to do it, is it? She said, did she say it doesn't even fit? She said, oh, we got there in the end. I'm trying to wrap it up with something funny. I can't even think of anything funny. It's not supposed to be about doing funny, I know. But remember, I sit down here to enjoy myself. I don't sit down here to... I make absolutely nothing out of it. I don't even monetize it to any great. I just have the Amazon links, as I said before. One day I make Amazon... May have to start monetizing. Well, not monetizing, but... Because speakers like you asked for like the Sony, was it U7, that doesn't look that great. You're asking and it looks interesting. I would like to measure it, but it's 400 quid. I ain't spending 400 quid on something that appears to be just another Sony loser. Nothing. We've gone nowhere since the XB speakers. The XB40, the XB30 were classic speakers. Got issues, but they were classic speakers in their era, in context of the time. And since then, just going no. XB43 was okay, but a bit heavy for what you get out of it. But since then, it just seems to be everything's a disappointment. The XB23 was absolutely awful, and I've just stopped buying Sony speakers because I can't buy speakers that appear to be of no interest to anyone. I know you say, "Well, buy it and send it back." Well, I can't keep sending speakers back everywhere, otherwise they'll start banning me everywhere. I've stretched it out again, she said, and I've got to the end, so it's going to be the end of the video now. And what do we do at the end of the video? We say cheerio in the UK. With cheerio, we don't really say that. They say that, I think, in the films. Dick Van Dyke, who wasn't even English, I think it was cheerio, everybody, sort of thing. And nobody actually really talks like that. But there you go. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again. It would be nice to know that I'm coming back for another video. Thank you for watching, and you are the reason I keep making videos.
What the f*** was that?
It comes from China.
My speaker's got deep bass, balanced mids, and a bright high.
Yes, mine sounds exactly the same.